I'm at Little Power Reservoir here on the northeast slopes of Adelaide, in the Adelaide Hills. This reservoir was built on the Little Power River, and it was built as a storage place, a reservoir, a reserve, water coming basically from the River Murray, pumped along the pipeline to Millbank Reservoir and then pumped here. Its size is 20.9 gigalitres, which compares with Happy Valley of 11 gigalitres. And in terms of pumped hydro energy storage, the Baroota pumped hydro would be 33 gigalitres of water, which is not much more than what's in this particular reservoir owned by SA Water and the South Australian Government. Now, when it comes to pumped hydro, there are two government entities that could do this quite easily. One is Snow Hydro, which is owned by the Commonwealth Government, which trades as Snow Hydro Trading with various gas-fired power stations which it owns here in South Australia. So the South Australian Government is actually beholden to the Commonwealth Government because the Commonwealth Government owns a number of power stations here in South Australia generating electricity. So the building of the pumped hydro at Baroota could be done either by the Commonwealth through Snow Hydro, or it could be done through SA Water for the South Australian Government. Now we can see here the concrete of the spillway, and there's not much water in the Little Power Reservoir at the moment, but when it is full, the water is brought here, it's diverted here from the River Murray via the Mannum to Adelaide pipeline. This is the Little Power Reservoir. You can see it's an earth-filled dam across basically a dry gully, and in the background you can see the power lines for the substation on top of Black Top above Para Vista. And we see here the spillway if this ever fills up, but this is in a very dry part of Adelaide. Come round, we'll see that the Little Power River runs down this gully down to the Adelaide Plains, and you can see the power lines going from here down to Osborne and to Torrens Island. This is Google Earth's view of the wall of the Little Power Reservoir, which is 20.9 gigalitres, and you can see the bright yellow lines, which are the high voltage alternating current power lines which are used to distribute electricity around the state of South Australia. The blue lines are the lava lines, some of which are no longer functioning, but they were used in the past, and these indigo or purple ones are the gas pipelines bringing natural gas to the various users in the state. Torrens Island has 3 gas-fired stations. A is no longer used, and these are B and what normally called C on Torrens Island, and this is a lithium-ion battery storage for electricity. Is the site of the Osborne Power Station, which burnt black coal coming from New South Wales when this was owned by the Adelaide Electricity Supply before it was nationalised by the Playford government and created the Electricity Trust of South Australia. Electricity Trust of South Australia built a power station at Port Augusta, and this is the site of the power station, Port Augusta, and you can see here the lower lines which brought the brown coal down from Lee Creek. And we go down, and here on the right is the site of the original station, the Thomas Playford A station at Port Augusta, which was decommissioned and is no longer functioning and it's been demolished. This area around here is now very important because of the large amount of heat from the sun which is being used for solar energy to collect the energy of the sun and create electricity, and also for the wind. And over here is the Hornsdale battery. So we're looking at a site here where the Baroota reservoir is, and this is the Baroota reservoir. And in an earlier time, a company called Rise Energy was looking to do pumped hydro here, and proposal was to use the Baroota reservoir, which has got a volume of 5.7 gigalitres, and have another dam built higher up on the slope of the same size for a pumped hydro scheme. That scheme didn't proceed, and the University of ANU, with its discovery, made this recommendation. In fact, we built a bigger dam, and this dam then communicates with the dam here. So this is the proposal for the Baroota dam using this larger dam. And this is the penstock which would be necessary to do this. And so the power station will be down here, and the pipes would come down from here on the outer surface of the escarpment, and the water would be carried, as in Prezzano in Italy, along pipes following the contours from the upper dam to this point, and then the pressure pipes bring the water down to the power station. It's midday on the 22nd of March on a Saturday, and this is the overall picture. The red indicates that the Haywood interconnector link is at 100% usage of transmission electricity, and the fact that it is positive indicates it's going from Victoria to South Australia. And this is the high voltage direct current Murray link, which is also at 100% capacity, and we can see that the demand in South Australia exceeds the scheduled supply of electricity. So let's look at the demand, and we can see at the moment the demand is down to 563 megawatts of energy, and the price, as we saw before, is $89 per megawatt hour. Previously, during the night, at 18 hours yesterday, the price was $138.40, and the demand was up to 1,628 megawatt hours. Now we're trying to build a business case for our pumped hydro at Baroota, which is shown in brackets because it doesn't actually exist. It's only an idea. And the university, the ANU University, Australian National University, is saying from the particular group that this particular site has the potential of 50 gigawatt hours of energy, and that means if we're looking at a normal system which only runs for 8 hours, if we were to fill up the upper dam entirely during the daytime when there's excess energy, we'd be exporting 6 gigawatts of energy, And if we're using generators of 250 megawatts, then we need 25 turbines to be able to pump out that much electricity. The upper dam has got 33 gigalitres in it, and so that's how much energy is displaced. Now, if we're doing that, given the prices we saw earlier, where the price at the moment in South Australia is minus 43.21 per megawatt hour, and we're dispatching this for 8 hours, then the cost to do the buying of that much electricity would be $2.5 million. Come night time, when we're selling electricity, again we're exporting all the electricity out at night, where the sale price is 138.4, giving us an income of $6.9 million with a cost of minus $259 million, means the profit for the day would be $9 million for the day. And at that rate, the profit per annum would be $3.4 billion. And across 40 years means that we'd make a total profit of $135 billion, given the construction cost of $3 billion. But that's not the point. The point is we're looking at reserving energy for when the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining. So what we'd be doing probably is cutting back the amount of energy we're selling off at any time by reducing the number of turbines down to 10 turbines. So I've now got 10 turbines, and so we are reserving 30 gigawatt hours of energy for when there's an emergency period of extreme heat where we need to provide energy from the store during the day, when normally we wouldn't be doing that, having purchased the energy and stored it at an earlier time. So if we restrict ourselves to 10 turbines, then the figures change. And so on the figures for the 22nd of March, with a buy price of minus 43.21, we'd make a cost of minus 1,037,000, and our sale price, we're selling it at night at 138.4, so our income would come out at 3.8 million per day, which an annual profit of $1.4 billion, and across 40 years we'd make $52.6 billion profit. This is the fuel mix in South Australia at noon on the 22nd of March. In South Australia, nearly half the electricity is coming from gas, even though the sun is shining, but seeing the wind is not blowing, or more particularly, the owners of the wind farms are not offering their turbines to sell the energy at a loss. Now, it could be that in the background there are incentives being provided by the governments, either at a state or national level, for environmental reasons, and so that the energy here is being sold at a loss, and the loss is covered by subsidies coming from elsewhere. Meanwhile, of course, we've seen that Victoria is also exporting energy into South Australia at this moment and selling it at a loss. This is the fuel mix in Victoria, again on the 22nd of March at 12 hours. And we can see that brown coal is providing 68% of the energy, and the only other supplier of any note is solar. The thing is that the brown coal fire stations, they can't turn down their boilers. They have to keep them running at the same capacity, and so they've got all this energy which they're creating because they can't stop creating it, and they need to sell it if they can sell it. If not, they have a problem. And the solar is probably coming again from some subsidies. So the whole energy at the moment is being pushed from Victoria into South Australia as a way of using the coal and finding a market for it. And at night, when the price goes up, they'll be able to do a cross-subsidy between the higher price at night, subsidising the loss during the day. This is Murray 1 hydro power station in the Snowy Mountains as it is today. And this is what it looked like back in 1965 when it was being built, and I was able to visit the site. The idea is the penstocks don't have to be buried underground. They can be out where people can see them. So this is where the water is at the top of the hill coming down to the power station at the bottom. And we can see that this is a very easy way to build the structures. So this is at the bottom of the power station and up to the top of the hill. In this case, the top of the hill is 1,008 metres and the bottom of the hill is 602 metres. This is Murray 1 power station with 10 turbines, and this is showing the penstock bringing the water down from the top of the hill here in the Snowy Mountains in the region of Carncoban, and that's Carncoban Back Street. And these are all of the potential pumped hydro schemes which could be developed in this area as identified by the Australian National University. We are now going to go across to South Australia and look at the pumped hydro scheme at a place called Baroota, which is near Port Pirie, and this was a scheme proposed by Rise Energy using the smaller dam, but this is the proposal now using this recommendation from the Australian National University with a penstock running down the escarpment from the top of the hill down, and the water then comes across the top of the hills from the upper dam, which would basically be a turkey's nest structure. And this is the overall view of the project, and we can see how close it is to all the power lines, and also it's very close to all of these solar and wind structures here at the upper Spencer Gulf of South Australia. Now when it comes to pumped hydro, there are two government entities that could do this quite easily. One is Snow Hydro, which is owned by the Commonwealth Government, or it could be done through SA Water for the South Australian Government.